right? I mean, during 1,400 years, the natural situation was that Jews are subjects of Islamic rule, right?
Yes.
Whether it's gonna
Yes.
be, whether it was in a positive way or a negative way, because my people also knew humiliations under Islamic rule and persecutions and forced conversions. But also in some times we had also golden eras for sure. I'm not saying and
Can you
comparing.
cite the date and where?
What? Yo, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Man, you look like the lost son of Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman?
Yeah,
Who's Gene Hackman?
he was a famous Hollywood actor.
Oh, I don't know that guy.
Anyway, where you from, buddy?
USA. Where are you from?
Oh, cool. I'm from Israel.
Are you like on a talk show or something?
It's kind of a podcast, yeah, but not live.
Oh, weird. Like, what do you do here? What do you talk about?
Basically, trying to have interesting conversations with Muslims, Palestinians, people who are anti-Israel.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm anti-Israel.
Huh?
I'm anti-Israel.
All right, so maybe we will have a very interesting conversation because I'm very pro-Israel.
Very nuts.
But I must say that the most interesting conversations I have are with people that, whether we disagree, we can have respectful debate and kind of clarify why we disagree and why is the animosity between the ideologies. You know what I mean?
Well, it could be animosity, in my opinion, because of the 70
first,
some years.
if you may, please, if you can present, what do you believe in? Why are you anti-Israel? What do you think about whatever? You have the mic.
Oh, I have the mic.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay, fair enough. I'm a believer in tried and true. You know what that means? In America, we say tried and true.
No, what
You know what
does
that
it
means? So it means that, like, so say you work in a restaurant or you work in a business and you have like, say you have in a restaurant, you have a fryer. You fry your fries. You put your falafels or something down into it, right?
Okay.
So when you put it in, maybe it's from the 60s and it's been working for the past, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, whatever. It's been working perfectly without any problems or very few problems, very few, for 60 years. And then the management says, hey, guess what? We're going to give you a new machine. And as soon as you get this new machine, it fails you. And it fails you. And they're like, well, we'll get a different machine. And then they get you a different machine. And it fails you. And it fails you. Like, no, this is top notch. This is the best. But it keeps on failing you.
Okay.
Would you rather go back to the tried and true? Would you trust in the tried and true, the one that worked? It's tried and it worked for right. It worked true. That would be the one I would trust. I worked in 20 years in that business of cooking. And I believe in tried and true. I don't care how old it is. I don't need the electronic machines. I don't need these new things. It just has more problems. So I like tried and true. And I'm going to put this same subject to the Holy Land.
Okay. By the way, before that, I assume that you are a Christian?
No, I'm not a Christian. I'm a Muslim.
Alhamdulillah. So you were you converted to Islam or born?
Yeah, I converted to Islam 15 years ago, and I had never met a Muslim who converted.
Very interesting.
I just read the Quran and it made more sense than the Bible, and so I decided that was the only path because I saw it as the best way of life on the face of the earth.
Do you know Arabic?
Some, not much.
This is the Quran in Hebrew, by the way.
Oh, crazy. Okay.
Just to let you know.
I have a Quran at my house that I picked up at a used bookstore, and it was written by a Christian society, and they wrote in the bottom, this is where they took this from the Old Testament. This is where they took this from the Old Testament. This is where they took this from the Old Testament. So the bottom parts are pretty much just like instead of saying something, this is what the Prophet peace be upon him meant by this. This is what this means. And you look in the regular Quran, it has subtitles. It explains it in the bottom, and it'll bring hadith. It'll bring things like that, things from the Sirah. And this brings the Old Testament, and it just reinforces an idea that it's stolen. So it's very interesting.
I see. Also, by the way, when I read the Quran in Hebrew, I knew from advance that if I don't read it in Arabic, I'm probably not gonna understand to the fullest what it's supposed to be. But still, when I read it in 95%, I mean in Hebrew, that was written by a Muslim who speak Arabic, and I'm probably more close to the source, even though, and by the way, in the same way, if you will read the Torah in English, you will not understand the same context as it's written in Hebrew.
I know, yeah. Same.
So it's kind of similar, this concept.
Yeah, same with the New Testament, yeah.
Yeah.
And the New Testament's just full of contradictions and madness anyways. God, man worship, and
Look, I respect the Quran. I think it's a holy book, but I still found in it some very few contradictions, but not something that will make me say, this is something that I need to disqualify and say that this is null and void or illegitimate. On the contrary, I try to legitimize the Quran.
interesting. Should I get back to what I was making a
Yeah.
reference to? Okay. So like I said, I like tried and true, what worked, but we've known worked over time. So when I look at the history of the Holy Land, say before the coming of Omar ibn al-Khattab, before he came and conquered it, it was bloodshed. There was war between the Persians, the Christians, the Jews were kicked out. They were siding with the Persians. They were, because they were being unalived by the Christians left, right, and center. And that was nasty. It was just bloodshed and a constant life of bloodshed and a constant life of oppression for anyone who wasn't their form of Christianity. Even they even oppressed other Christians that were different forms of Christianity. So it wasn't really justice. But when Omar ibn al-Khattab came, he established a form of justice through the teachings of Islam.
Yeah, the Pact
Even
of
brought
Omar.
70 tribes. Yeah, the Pact of Omar. And for Jerusalem, the city of Jerusalem, there was one thing that was kept in there that Jews weren't allowed to be in that city because they wouldn't make the pact with him. He tried to, no, this and that. And so if you look at the Pact of Omar in Jerusalem, it says Jews can't be in the city, right? But when it says for all of the Holy Land, the Jews were allowed to come and establish their cities anywhere around their holy sites. And he brought in 70 tribes to make their own, to upkeep their sites and create communities around these sites so that they could come back. Because when he got there, he talked to the bishop and he says, no, we kicked them all out. They unalived thousands, like I think 7,000 just before that in the war before the Omar came. And
Okay, so the bottom line, what you try to say basically is that Jews can live peacefully and with security under Islam, but not the other way around.
Well, let me just finish the whole deal. So from then on, it was pretty peaceful between. Well, I can't find a war between the Omar and the Crusades. I don't find a war between Christians, Jews, and Muslims between Omar and then the coming of the Crusades. Not in the Holy Land. We can go to Al-Andalus and see something that happened in Al-Andalus, but not in the Holy Land, right? So the Holy Land was kept very well. But then the Crusades came, and the Crusaders unalived Christians, Jews, Muslims, everybody in the land. They killed anybody that wasn't on their side in their army, and that wouldn't bow down and kiss their feet. So they unalived everybody, even in the city of Jerusalem. They unalived everybody. Sent a letter back to the Pope and says, "We're knee deep in blood, and we've done the job that you sent us to do." So they kept it for just under 100 years. It was bloodshed and oppression for every single person in that city, except the Crusaders. So that didn't work.
All right, I understand. I think I understand where you go with this, which is okay. I mean, this is part of history and part of your opinion as well. But, I want to try and focus this conversation with something that goes to our days, and maybe also
I am getting to our day. So I'm just going to jump ahead again. Like after the Crusades, then it was put back into the establishment of Islam control. And then from then all the way up until the fall of the Ottoman Empire, you can't find one war between Christians, Jews, and Muslims in the Holy Land. Those three sects lived in peace in the Holy Land. Not one. And then you get to modern age. Modern age, you have the fall of the Ottoman Empire. Fall of the Ottoman Empire put a secular state in charge, right? British Mandate of Palestine. That came in charge. And what happened? It was chaos. There was chaos between everybody. And then Israel is now established in the late 40s. And it's still been nonstop chaos and bloodshed. So I see one that worked very well, and the other three seem to fail viciously. And I would say go back to the first one that worked.
I beg to differ regarding Israel, obviously, as an Israeli and also as a Zionist. Because I think that when we start to come back, the Muslims that always had the superior theology in your eyes didn't really see us as a people that have legitimate claims to come back and have any part of sovereignty in this land. Even though we can interpret the same text in the Quran and in the Torah that give us the legitimacy to rule here. And once we came back, obviously there was chaos because there was always resistance to any Jewish rule here, because in the eyes of the Muslims, it was always The natural situation was supposed to be that Jews were gonna live under the Muslims, but not Muslims gonna live under the Jews, which was something, a concept that was very, very breaking the paradigm of what Muslims were taught during 1,400 years, right? I mean, during 1,400 years, the natural situation was that Jews are subjects of Islamic rule, right?
Yes.
Whether it's gonna be, whether it was in a positive way or a negative way, because my people also knew humiliations under Islamic rule and persecutions and forced conversions, but also in some times we had also golden eras for sure. I'm not saying and comparing.
Can you cite the date and where?
What?
Can you cite the dates to these accusations? So you've made multiple accusations. I want to clarify them. You said in the Quran that the Jews have the right to rule the Holy Land. Where?
Surah number 1, Surah Al-Ma'idah. It's basically said that Allah written this land to us, to the children of Israel.
But you're taking one verse without what it says
With the
it.
context.
It says
With the
under the
context.
contradiction. It says if they reject God, then it will be taken from them, and it was.
Exactly, by the way. But also regarding that theology, which I agree with you, God can never cancel his own covenant. So we indeed broke from our
You
part.
canceled the covenant.
No, we
You
can.
canceled the covenant.
We canceled indeed.
Yeah. Okay.
We did. But there's also the concept that God can reward and punish whoever he wants when he wants. And isn't God also the all merciful? So basically, God cannot cancel his own covenants. But if a nation or a person go against the covenant between them and God, God punishes. But if they repent, God can have mercy.
Okay. I want to talk about that. So Israel is secular. Even though they claim to be a Jewish state, they also claim to be secular. And secularism is not, you don't have the official judgment of Judaism. You have homosexuals left, right, and center. You have constant breaking of the rules. The vast majority of Israel is actually non-religious.
No, it's not true. The vast majority of Israel. Wait. I'm an Israeli, and I'm telling you, the vast majority of Israel, it's not that they're not religious. They are traditional. They keep.
Where is it?
That doesn't mean that, when you need to judge, whatever a person does regarding if they keep Shabbat, if they keep the holidays, if they are praying towards God, or they pray towards idols. Most of the Israeli Jews are believers. Most of the Israeli Jews, even though it's different from traditional Muslims, they go to the synagogue at least once a year. Some of them go once a week. Some of them go every day. It's something which is not like in Islam. It's different, okay? But those, by the way, you kind of remind me something kind of weird. Those that you're probably the most against, the settlers, right?
Mm-hmm.
The settlers are indeed the manifestation of true Judaism, whether they are praying, whether they are national in their identity. These are the Jews that you probably, if you're going to see authentic Jewish state. Wait, let me finish with that. I claim that if there's going to be ever, and it will be, Be'ezrat Hashem, inshallah, authentic Jewish state, I claim that the settlers will be the ones that are going to shape it and even lead it. And they eventually going to be your best allies as a Muslim.
Oh, not mine. No.
Because they are the most close to you regarding their values, their beliefs, and the way that they put God in their life.
They're extremists beyond the extreme.
Yeah, but you as a Muslim, you are loyal to your religion as a Muslim, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
but I don't like everybody left, right, and center to take their homes and kick them out and steal their lambs and steal their cattle and take up the thing and then burn them to the ground.
Again, but if there was not the resistance of the Palestinians and the Muslims to the Jews coming back to reclaiming legitimately what is ours, there will be nobody dead, no killing, and nobody will probably go away from their homes.
People who lived there for hundreds of years need to just bend over and take them down.
Probably the Palestinians that were deported or fled or ran away during the Nakba would stay here and live under Jewish rule, like it should have been.
I know people who live there. I'm not saying any names. I know many people who live under Jewish rule, and it is not equality.
Hey,
They
what
are
is
dhimmi.
equality? What is equality? I
They
mean,
are dhimmi, right? They're dhimmi. So you don't like being
they're
a
not
dhimmi under
dhimmis.
Muslim rule.
They're not
Yes, they
dhimmis.
are.
They're not.
Yes, they
They're
are.
not.
They don't have the right to build. They don't have the right to build like you have the right to
Of
build.
course they
They
do.
don't have the
No,
right to sanction like they have the right to
they
sanction.
don't.
They don't have the right
Look,
to have their family who lives on the other side of the border to
that's
come
something
back
different because
and
that's unfortunately
become
enemy territory. Unfortunately, but it's not that they are deprived from having the same
So
rights
what
to
about the
vote and to be
160
elect
children who were
and to
killed
buy
the
and
night
to
before?
buy lands and to rent houses and to buy property, and they
So hold
also
up,
do
but there's
not
a right to return.
wait, let me finish. They also do not join the military, and they still have all the rights. And we, the Jews, we do actually military service, national service, and we do more obligations and get still the same rights as them.
So no, not the same rights. Remember,
The
that's not
same
the same
rights.
right.
More or
No,
less the
you don't have
same
the same.
rights. More
You
or
do
less
not
the
have the
same.
same rights.
More or less the
Your
same.
own B'Tselem says they're not the same rights. They have a list on their deal and says, we live here. We're Jews who live in this country. And we say you don't have the same rights. And they list them. Go to B'Tselem and see what it says there. I'm not taking this from my own opinion, sitting in America going, I make up this thing inside my head because
Well,
I
by
heard
the way,
something on the news.
regarding B'Tselem and all these human rights organizations, all of them are secular orientated. All of
I know
them,
that, but
all
they're
of them
still
come.
looking
All
at
of
it.
them come from the premise that doesn't really give a, pardon my French, a fuck about religion and God in the picture. So you're gonna listen to them. And by the way, also regarding
I'm just going to use it as a fact. I'm not going to take their side. I'm using what they say as a fact because they
but
live there and
everybody,
they
my
tell me what's
friend,
happening.
everybody makes, regarding according to
If I had an
their
Islamic state
ideology,
and we had the
they interpret
jizya
the
down,
reality in order to make the concept of what they want to believe in.
So if I had an Islamic state and we had somebody in my state, whom of which made a list of different things that the dhimmi don't get, that I wouldn't have a problem with someone saying, hey, this is a list. I'd say, yes, that's a list of things that those people don't get. I wouldn't deny it. I wouldn't say they don't get these things. I would say, yes, I have an apartheid. And I believe that because God told me to have an apartheid. Because it makes it harder for these people to live as Jews and Christians a little bit. They don't get to their homes aren't taken. Their synagogues are taken care of. Their churches are protected. They don't have to be in the military. We are the vanguard. We protect them. But if they want the things that we have, they can convert. Very easy. They can just convert. But this isn't the same. So we don't go off of bloodline lineage. We encourage people to take on these rules and say, hey, you can become a Muslim. Pray 5 times a day. Go to the masjid and be a Muslim. Stand with us. You're our brothers. We'll forget everything of the past. And you can have all the same rights as us. It doesn't matter what skin color you are. It doesn't matter what your father's religion was. It doesn't matter what your mother's religion was.
But this is where I
So
believe.
that's justice.
Hmm?
At least you can change it.
No,
At least
but
you
this
can
is-
change it.
but
As a
this is-
Muslim, I
yeah.
can never be a Jew.
No. But listen, but this is where you are getting it wrong, in my opinion. You
Well, that's what I'm
think
saying.
as a Muslim, for you, what does peace mean?
Justice.
What does justice mean?
It brings peace.
Yeah, but what does it mean, like politically, like on the ground?
On the ground, peace.
Means-
There's
let
two
me
types
let
of
me
peace.
let me maybe introduce to you what I think peace and justice means to you as a Muslim. I'm making an assumption. Maybe I'm wrong, but I tell you what I believe that you mean when you say peace and justice. All the world become Muslim, and those who are not Muslim are subjugated and accept your rule on top, and they're gonna be on the bottom,
Absolutely.
right?
But not the bottom. The bottom would be the land of war, like the land of the kuffar, which are
Exactly.
against us. That's the bottom.
Right.
That's the bottom.
I tell you what peace means to me as a Jew. I tell you
All right,
what
so
peace.
let me at least respond to that, right? Let me at least respond.
Wait. Let me just tell you what I think peace means to me, then respond, if you may. Right?
Yeah.
For me, justice means that because this land was given to us by God, and we have legitimacy to be here and have a kingdom here or a state, the Muslims here are going to be under our rule, and in all over the world, there's going to be Muslims and Christians and people with different identities, and we'll find a way to have unity without uniformity, so we can all live together and end the wars in the world. And that's the meaning of
That's
peace
not
to
what
me.
your book says.
That's exactly
not what
my
your book
That's
says.
exactly what
Your
my
book says unalive anybody, even if he's your family member or your wife or your daughter, if they worship other
Where?
gods. Unalive them, do not have mercy on them.
Where
Take them
does
to
it
the
say
street.
that? Where?
Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy says about the idol worshippers back then.
If
But
anyone of your
in the
idol worship,
future, let
anyone
me
starts
teach
worshiping
you
an
a little
idol.
bit about my religion, because
All right, no, let me
maybe
respond to what you said. Let me at least respond to what you said before that. Let me at least respond to what you said
please.
about peace. So it's interesting. So as a Muslim, and with our Sharia versus your, what is it called? Your Sharia? Should I just say your Sharia?
Yeah, we have
Your
Sharia of
Sharia?
Musa, of course.
Yeah. So based with your Sharia and your actions, the way that we took the land. Let's put this into perspective. Two hands here. Way the Muslims took the land, the way that you took the land. The Muslims came in and we destroyed the leadership and their army. We had them submit. Once they submitted, we even brought in the Jews. 70 tribes went out and gathered up who could come back and said, we'll give you peace. We'll give you and allow you to have your, and we'll protect you and we'll keep you here. You just pay the taxes. It's simple. And so we protect them. We brought them back to the land that they yearned for. Then after that, let's go all the way to your age. When you came in, now we let everyone has the right to the religion. Everyone has the right to this. As long as you pay taxes, it's simple.
And
Just
as
pay your
long
taxes
as
like
you are
any other country.
lower
Just any
than the
other country, just like
Muslims.
any other country, you pay your taxes. In America, if I don't pay my taxes, I go to jail for
And as long
17
as
years.
you're inferior to the Muslims.
Well,
with your
what
religion.
rules make them inferior? What rules?
I mean,
What rules
for
are
example,
inferior?
as a
Label
Jew, I
them.
cannot ride a horse. I can ride only a donkey. I have to dress differently. I have to walk in a different side of the street. Not to. And by the way, a Muslim also cannot greet me. I need to greet him first, right? Supremacy.
Yeah, but do these affect your daily
Okay.
life? Do these make you not have a house? Do these make you not have?
admit that
Does this
Islam
make
is
you
a
not have a house? Do
supremacist
we sell you
ideology
lesser
regarding
food?
Jews.
Do we sell you lesser food? Do we make you eat from a trough like a
Right.
pig?
So
Do we
basically,
make you?
right.
No. Okay,
So
good,
basically,
good.
like I said, for you it's natural that the
So,
Jew's gonna be under you.
what did Rambam say? What did Rambam say?
He said a lot of things. Very smart man,
Yes,
by
he
the way.
did. Yes. You can take his books and realize that we have the same God as you have. So we're just following the rules of our God. But let's do this.
By the
When
way,
was the golden
he also
age of, when was the
mentioned
golden
that
age?
you are the
Historically,
Muslims, that your heart
when was the golden
is
age of
committed
Judaism?
to the heavens in the proper way.
When
That's why the
when was
Rambam's,
the golden age of Judaism?
that was basically in the time, a little bit in the time of Andalus. Yeah.
Ooh, under Muslim rule. Wow! Until someone who was the associate where there shouldn't have been a Jew as an advisor to the king.
I'm not
A Jewish
denying
man
that.
was an advisor
I'm
to the
not
king,
denying
and
that.
then
I'm
when he
just
died,
saying,
his son became the advisor.
listen,
Let me just finish.
hold on.
His son became the advisor, and his son went to the
Fine. I'm not denying
and
that.
said, "You make me king, I'll take over the land.
Fine, I'm not denying
I'll give
that
you the
we
land."
had the golden age under your rule in Andalus. I'm not denying that.
You just said it was terrible to live under Muslims.
I didn't say that all the time. You didn't. You wanted to pick what I said, and
So there was war, but there was war in Al-Andalus, but there was never war between Christians and Muslims in the
I
Holy
said
Land.
clearly, and I repeat that. By the way, I'm an author. I write books. So in my book
Good,
also I
put me in it.
mentioned.
It'll be funny.
So in my book I also mentioned that in some times of history there was also golden age of Jews living under Muslim rule. But I say that now that we came back, you're gonna live under us, and it's gonna be your golden age again under us. But you have to accept that here in this.
I understand that's what you believe.
Wait. You have to accept that here in this land, you're gonna live under us, and it's gonna be splendid. You're not gonna be humiliated or second-class citizens or stuff like that. You just need to accept that the words of our prophets, who are also your prophets. But by the way, I will ask you, maybe you, because you have a Christian background, you actually are familiar with Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel, right?
Yeah.
So they are also Islamic prophets, right?
Some of them, if they're mentioned in the Quran, they are.
Even if they're not mentioned in the Quran. Prophet Muhammad said that all the prophets that came before him,
but not all of them were considered prophets. Some of them were like just judges, great judges in the Old Testament. Some of them were just
those
judges.
that I mentioned now,
those that I mentioned
now, like Isaiah, Jeremiah, are not mentioned in the Quran. Ezekiel is mentioned as Dhul Kifl, right?
Okay. You can say so. I don't know. I read it in the Arabic, and I don't know who it associates to. So.
Right. So we basically believe that us coming back is according to the prophecies of these prophets. And now that you reject us coming back, you actually reject your prophets. That's the way.
All right, let me give it to you like this. So we as Muslims came in. We gave you your golden age. And then you as Jews, when you came, and we brought you back to the land that you yearned for, that you were kicked out of. We brought you back and put you there and said, live here. This is your holy land too. And then when you came back, you took it from them, you unalived them, kicked 1 million out, 750,000 out to 1 million out. You stole the land from underneath them. You robbed them, raped them, pillaged them, murdered them, and have carried it out for nearly a century. How dare you say that's justice? How dare you say that's justice? How dare you call that justice? Wow, man.
It's not how
you call that justice? That's my golden age. That's my golden age you're going to give me? You're going to give me that as my golden age? You're going to say that raping my women and children and fucking my goddamn my brothers? You fuck them. You fuck men. Your fucking soldiers
you are mad, and it's good that you're mad.
Your soldiers fucked men and you paraded them on the motherfucking news.
It's good that you're mad. You should be mad. You should be mad.